Parts of Australia are experiencing a severe heat wave this weekend with sweltering temperatures, dry air and hot nights.
In fact, the BOM predicts coastal areas will see temperatures climb to the high 30s, while inland areas could soar to the low 40s. Well, joining us now to explain what's happening is KARL. He's the founder of Weather Matters. KARL, great to have you on Weekend Breakfast. Welcome.
Good morning to you, Fauzia.
Okay, so break this down for us, KARL. What is happening with the weather system? We now have a heat wave.
We now have a heat wave. We've not seen much heat across the country in the past 3 years. Bit of a shock to the system, but certainly it is February. We should be expecting some heat and the peak of summer. And the dry air, hot air, as you mentioned, covering large swathes of the country at the moment from northwest WA right through to the coastal areas in WA, even into the eastern inland. You can check out the map here at the moment, right across northwestern Australia through to the eastern inland. We can see a very, very sharp area of hot air. But coastal areas, Fauzi, and the southeast have seen some relief overnight with a cooler southeast to southerly flow. But unfortunately, for those about 50 to 100 kilometres inland of the coast, it is quite hot still. And look at those temperatures in the far northwest of WA, up towards the high 40s. So certainly getting very close to record territory, but not quite yet.
Gosh, it looks terrible at the moment.
It does.
I guess the question everyone wants to know is, how long is this going to last for?
Well, we've got certainly a heatwave forecast across the northwest of WA through parts of South Australia into the eastern inland as we go through the weekend. There are two parts to this heatwave. We've got one that's sitting in the east at the moment. That will wash out a little bit over the course of the weekend over eastern inland New South Wales and Queensland. But it's the heatwave activity over northwest WA stretching down into parts of the Eucla and the Nullarbor Plains later in the weekend into early next week. That's probably where we'll see the most severe to extreme heatwave activity in the course of the next week. So certainly it is baking out there through some parts of WA, thankfully in very remote parts of WA, but in those Pilbara areas, very hot conditions can be expected up over the next 3 to 4 days.
Now, can we expect any bushfire warning? Should we be careful if we're out and about? Shouldn't perhaps strike a match anywhere that's dry?
That's a very good point. At this point in time, it is summer, and we always have to be aware of the fire dangers. There are some fire weather warnings out through parts of the southern NT at the moment, particularly through the Alice Springs Fire Command at the moment, and also through parts of the eastern inland with those very hot temperatures. They'll be popping up from time to time. If you're living on property with bush, with a lot of grassland, there's been so much water fall in the past 3 years. The growth is going to be very, very much above normal. Just have your wits about you. It is that time of year. Be very careful with machinery. There doesn't need to be a fire weather warning to practice safety out there. So that is the advice really moving forward through the remainder of summer and really right in through most of March at this stage.
Very good advice there. Now, KARL, it is cyclone season. We can't avoid that, of course.
No.
You know, we were talking about tropical cyclone Freddie, which formed off WA coast some time ago. More cyclones along the way. Talk to us about cyclone season. What's happening now?
So we have got Freddie that's sitting all the way back into the central Indian Ocean. Look at this track, quite remarkable run of this system. It is still heading westbound, likely to hit the eastern side of Madagascar, coming up around about, I'd say, Wednesday, Thursday, and then heading in towards parts of Africa. A remarkably long-lived system. Now, let's head back home, and we'll probably see some tropical activity still sitting around the Gulf of Carpentaria. Now, there's been some flooding between Kawanyama and Karumba over the past 36 to 48 hours with the ABC team up there in the northwest covering the flooding at the moment. That rainfall is easing. Further tropical cyclone activity is expected between now and the end of April. It is a peak of cyclone season. For residents around the Darwin region, where I am at the moment, it's pretty dry at the moment. There is some very small signal for some tropical activity to develop later this week. Just again, like the fire dangers down south, have your cyclone kits ready up here. Be weather aware. This is severe weather season across the country, and make sure you pay attention to all the official forecasts and warnings from the Bureau.
Be weather aware. That's very important to keep in mind. KARL, always lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for being with us. KARL Linders there.